everyone, and welcome back to another happy Monday here with the Queued Up fam. We got a lot to talk about with you today. Woo, woo, woo. Is that FaZe pulling up in the ambulance to pick Falcons up from falling from grace? We're going to talk about that and more. Over in the other side of the planet, in mobile land, we've got LEC with their playoffs finishing up. Did MKOI make the miracle run? We're going to talk about that, as well as LTA North. And another thing we haven't talked about in a long time with Riot, we got Valorant Masters Toronto kicking off. We got a highlight here, Gen G versus MIBR. We've got so much to talk about with that. Going to be a lot of good action coming to you. I am going to be your host today, Michael Tumbleweed Kepley. I'm joined here with the fantastic crew of Davis, Nick, Chris, Celestia. We have got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to jump right into Around the League, where we're starting with the one thing we've been neglecting, Valorant VCT Masters. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Excellent. So let's go and jump right into it. Have you guys been tuning into this Valorant action? There's a lot been popping off right now. Hot off the press, Sentinels just took their game against BLG. Thank God. North America, we praise. What's been some of the action you guys have been looking for? Nick, let's start with you.
EMEA struggling out the gate with Liquid and Heretics falling short there. Heretics was the team that surprised me the most. I think I had them in my power rankings for top 5, and Paper Rex just put them down easy. A lot of other experts were talking about how Paper Rex was looking good this meta split, and they showed it, taking down the top 5 team at Heretics, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right where my surprise was, too. I was really expecting Heretics to be one of the top teams at this event, and clearly in their first match, they were caught sleeping a little bit. So really excited with the first matches. I do think this first round of Swiss Stage has been a little bit lopsided. We've seen a bunch of 2-0s, but we did have the one game that was really, really close between Billy and Liquid, so that was a good game. But Liquid playing with their alternate, maybe they'll be back with Nats. Who knows?
I'm excited for Paper X. They've always been a fun team to watch at international tournaments, and them taking Heretics, they were one of our dark horses in our power rankings as well.
They were.
So it's good to see them jumping up there. But Sentinels versus Wolves had the best atmosphere for me. So that was fun seeing Zealous pop off. And of course, he gets to pop off again here, picking up their second win versus BLG. So Sentinels picking up pretty nicely here.
Yeah, I mean, that Split and Lotus map rotation, and then over with Heretics Paper X, we got to see Pearl and Icebox. I'm most surprised, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, I'm a Valorant noob, guys, but Gen G absolutely running the show of MIBR. I mean, didn't even look close. They have the biggest map round differential in the whole tournament at this point.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. MIBR has fallen off since the end of the regionals for Americas. They played a couple EWC qualifiers, and they didn't make EWC, and they just came out flat, and that's kind of when we were going into the power rankings for this event that I put them down really low. And Aspas is great, but something about the meta changes just doesn't have them looking good as of recently. So kind of, unfortunately, as expected for MIBR there.
Yeah, and it's kind of strange because I want to touch on one thing you said at the end with the meta changes. I actually saw this team as being a team that I thought might have some upside with the meta changes that were coming to them, and obviously they haven't really been trending up. The end of the year they were looking extremely weak compared to some of the other NA teams, and it's kind of continued now to Masters.
Yeah, you're talking about Taeho being nerfed. Yeah, Taeho.
Yeah.
I mean, non-existent, right, in this tournament. No one's even picking him. He obviously was nerfed to oblivion.
Yeah.
Hey, what exactly did they change with Taeho for folks that may not know?
Yeah, so the biggest thing they changed is now, so his rockets used to recharge, and there was also, or no, that's the only thing. There's still 2 rockets, but it used to recharge. So like if you use it at the beginning of the map, right when the round starts, there's like a 30, maybe 40-second timer, and then you can use them again. Now they've changed it to where you can only use it one time throughout the entire round. So makes you think about when you're using it and make sure you're using the ability at the best impact moment. And unfortunately, or honestly not unfortunately in my opinion, but the reason they're not picking him is just because there's a lot better initiators out there that offer information. Whether the reason they were picking him back in the split was because he offered so much oppressiveness and damage.
Yep.
But now that it's not there, there's really no reason to pick it. So they're taking the information.
Yeah, the team that I think is most affected by that is a team we're not even going to get to see in the Swiss stage is G2. And Trent played it 30 out of 30 games. So I'm really curious to see what he's going to be playing in these first, when we finally get to the playoff side of things, who's he's going to be playing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Now, I do want to pick on Davis a little bit, right? Because Davis is our MIBR expert, I'll say, on the show. So they're up for elimination, right? They're against Team Liquid. Is Aspas going to get it done, or is he going to get knocked out?
So I do think they're going to get it done. And I know I just said about how weak they were, and I think it's going to be a tremendously close series because I do see these 2 teams as being, 2 of our weaker teams at the event right now. But the reason I think they're going to get it done is because Nats is jumping right back into the team. And I know he's been on the team and they've been playing with him for a while, but I just think the transition to him jumping right into a match at Masters and that being the make or break deal, I think it's going to be a lot of pressure. And I think the MIBR will feel a lot more comfortable in that situation. And I think that they'll eventually take it.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's where Liquid has the advantage with Nats coming back, the good vibes, the positivity. I think they're going to actually get this one.
Yeah, I was actually going to piggyback off of that. I think Nat's coming back, and then having such a close first game as well with him not being there, Penny stepping up and coming in. They have a lot of momentum to ride off of that. It's a loss, but feel good. When your shot caller and one of your main components to your meta on how you play your meta and your team isn't there, you still only go down. You still pick up one map. That's good. And then I'm looking at right now the KD across the board for MIBR, all in red, just completely fried across the board when they played against Shinji. I mean, we saw the clip there on just completely getting knocked out by Ash, and he wasn't even their top KD. Texture over there was completely frying them the whole entire time. Yeah. I think this is going to affect them, plus the loss to go to EWC. It's most likely running in the back of their minds, and it could be the loss and the momentum downward swing where Liquid will be able to take it.
Yeah, and it just even with that clip as well, it's like you could tell MIBR there's just something wrong there. I don't know if it's mentally or not, but even that clip looked flashy. But they're just swinging him one by one by one by one. At a certain point in time, you know where he is. Don't chow anymore. Go the other direction. They were on offense. Just go to the site. Do whatever. Something's not right in the MIBR camp.
Yeah, or at least dual peak, right? And I kind of disagree with Davis because Liquid, they had a pretty fantastic performance against BLG, and we saw BLG just push Sentinels right to the
game
brink.
3, yeah.
Yeah, they went to game 3. I mean, you could argue that could have went either way. Liquid, they take BLG 2-1, so Liquid's coming out looking pretty hot this event. But that's going to...
I want to make one more comment. Just because the only reason I think that it could actually halt them is just, I mean, if you look at Penny, who was the step-in for Nats, he was their best player against BLG. So that's the only thing is, with me, it's Nats is stepping into a role that, it's his role that he's owned, but in the last game that they just played, the guy that replaced him was the only player that was really holding them together. So I just feel Nats, if he comes back and plays really well, they definitely have a chance to win. But that's the whole reason I think that it's just a little shaky in my opinion.
Penny had hometown cheese. He was sleeping in his own bed. That's the only reason he was performing so well. Even though he's a great player in the challenger scene, and we love him for stepping in so quick. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, guys. We're going to transition over. We're going to talk, probably my favorite topic right now, Counter-Strike. The major, we're in stage 2, and we have seen, some absolute crazy storylines here. If your pick'ems is still intact, you're a psycho. You just don't know what's going on. Most notably, right, I'll just run through the bracket, some of the major stories. Legacy, they end up going 3-0, ended up beating FaZe to do that, going 2-0. We've got FaZe, right? FaZe is doing good performance rise, a little bit heroic, underperforming, but most important, we hone in down there at the bottom right. Falcons, MIBR. Why is Falcons at the bottom? They started out 0-2, dropping games to, who was it? B8 and Lin Vision, right? That's a surprise. What's wrong with Falcons, guys?
And they lost the first map to OG. Let's not forget that they were one map away from going home.
That's true. What's going on with that? Is Modesty overrated?
No.
I don't really know what's going on with it, to be honest. I was really shocked, especially from their first loss, because they were playing one of their best maps, actually, in Ancient, and they are a tremendous team on Ancient. And to lose to B8, I think it shows that B8 is a very good team. But, very shocking for me, for sure, to see Falcons go down 0-2.
Modesty was going negative, so you have to wonder. But I'm wondering as well, because the format's a best of 1 right now. So I'm wondering if they don't have that sense of urgency going into it, where a lot of these other teams are moving from stage 1 to stage 2. They've already had a little practice behind their belt. They have these best of 1s that they're going straight into. How is Falcons faring against this already in stage 2? And then I feel like there's just no sense of urgency. When I was watching them behind the scene, you're kind of watching their facial expressions. And then there's one where he literally, Nico's just sighing across it. It's just, I don't see that they feel like they are supposed to be there. So they're not really playing like they have, to work their way up to stage 3.
Yeah, kind of a hot take. I think this is a great thing for Falcons. I think with them losing now, right, and kind of getting that fire up under their butts, but also most importantly, we saw, and listen, folks, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on this bracket because it feels random at times. But, if I draw the assumptions from coming stage 1 to stage 2, Falcons underperforming here lets them dodge the likes of Vitality early. It lets them dodge Spirit. right? Lets them dodge mouse for a little bit. So if Falcons can come in, they're going to start with a bit of an easier matchup, maybe like against like a Liquid, right, in stage 3, and that's going to set them up to propel them forward. So I honestly think this could work out, right? Big brain, tinfoil hat theory. Maybe like that was kind of the plan, right?
That'd be a twist rematch, some storylines there between the old squad and the new squad, but that'd be fun to see. But yeah, no, it's Chris was talking about Mondesi being negative, and when you're just getting beat in a map, your AWPer does not have much opportunity. So I kind of don't really look at the stats too much on that one. But yeah, going back and forth in my own mind, I'm like, are they playing bad? Is the other team playing good? I don't even know where to rank them amongst all the teams right now, more or less stage 2. But what I keep going back to over and over again, on a tournament that takes 22 days, how are we still playing best of ones? And it's tough because you would think that the higher seed has more map bans, so they should take the map in easy advantage in a best of 1. So the fact that they're losing their best map is weird, but best of 3, I don't see them losing either of those first 2 series.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I would be absolutely shocked if they lose to MIBR later today. I mean, I was even shocked that OG took a game off of them, so it's a little alarming, right, that even kind of felt that close. But as this goes forward, I mean, if I'm Falcons, I may be worried about like Namiga, maybe, Lion is there now. Payne just beat them to advance forward. So, I mean, there's a lot of good action coming on there, but I do like your point with the best of 1. I think anything could happen. So, my tinfoil hat theory, if we make our prediction, right, and we kind of know what's going to happen with the bracket, Legacy got number 1, right, but they're the lower seed in comparison to Virtus Pro, which, by the way, shout out to the new Virtus Pro coach. I don't know how to say his name accurately, the F1N, right? I mean, that guy has turned that whole roster around, right, for the year. So that's a whole storyline we could spend a whole segment on with just how good Virtus Pro looked. But Legacy looks like on paper they should be the ones to match Vitality in Stage 3, Game 1. If Legacy can play in the way they are with this momentum, is Legacy going to be the team to end the Vitality streak in a best of 1?
We've said it enough, but we need to keep talking about it. They weren't even supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And not even in stage 2. They weren't even supposed to be in stage 1. They got that last minute bid to even come to the major. They're riding with that chip on their back, and they're looking good.
Yeah.
My favorite part is the fact that they're 3-0 now. They beat 3 teams that were automatically qualified for this stage too. So they're beating teams that are really, really good. So
yeah. I didn't even think of that. That's a very good point.
Yeah, they beat 3 teams that were automatically qualified to this stage. So, I mean, even though they weren't invited to the event, clearly showing that, hey, there might be some qualification flaws and we deserve to be here.
Yeah, a lot of stock growing down there in South America. Do you have anything to add to Legacy? You're a fan now?
I'm a fan, though. I've been watching them, especially going into the Thai stuff, because we were covering a lot, and that's just cool. And then I know we talked about it on some of our Clutch Arcades, or whether or not they should have been allowed in. I was kind of on the, they shouldn't because, they didn't qualify for it, so just kind of leave that spot open. But this is cool when a team can come in off of a technicality like that and then just completely blow everyone out of the water.
Yeah, the storyline, I mean, is absolutely phenomenal. So you couldn't ask, in my opinion, you couldn't ask for a better stage 2. I mean, all these upsets are perfect. It's like, it's just really churning our wheels. And as a Mongols fan, like, I'm nervous about some of these teams that are coming up from stage 2 because they're looking good. And, I'm cheering my boys on.
You got it.
Go the whole way.
You got it.
And this is the one thing that I really, really hope that this stage 2 continues to show through the rest of the event is just how even the Counter-Strike scene really is. Because as we've seen it, Vitality's on this huge run. Nobody can take them down. The next team that we would all pretty much assume before this, maybe stage, would be Falcons, would be the second team that we're looking at. Well, now Falcons is losing to teams that were from stage 1, so it just shows how close together the competition is. And I'm hoping that translates into stage 3 and we can see Vitality. I'm not going to wish someone to necessarily beat them and ruin their streak, but it would be entertaining for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be the big test, right? Just to put some closing points on this from my perspective. If Vitality lose, right, in this best of 1 style format, just think of all the value it adds to the NIP legacy, right? To highlight you guys and how you've been talking about it. It would just further emphasize how great of a run that they had. But we are going to have to transition over for sake of time, right? We're going to leave shooters behind. Call of Duty. Put a schedule out there. I want to talk about you again. It's been a while, but we're going to go to MOBAs. We're going to go to League of Legends. We're going to start over here in North America. A little bit less eventful, right? We're just building up to our finals. But we've got our playoff bracket set. Davis, this is your time, buddy.
Yep,
I wanted to do it. I didn't have the guts to do it. Shopify Rebellion beat Team Liquid 3-1. If you're going to finally take games off of them, at least win the series. FlyQuest Cloud9, absolute banger. 5-game series. Much better, I think, than people could have even hoped for after that last 3-0 sweep. Chris, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, and starting on that, if they had a graphic pulled up and everyone had either 3-1 or 3-0 for FlyQuest to take it on to C9. Obviously, in the seeding match, they got absolutely demolished. No questions about that. C9, though, has been a consistently growing team. And I was talking to this about Davis on where LTA North and LTA South are in this weird zone where they haven't played enough games, so we haven't had teams really moving up. And FlyQuest has kind of been at the top, and they've resolved all their issues while First Stand was going on, and that was evident going into Split 2. Other teams are still having some of those issues, but as the games build up, Shopify Rebellion being one of the biggest, benefactors of this, are showing off a lot better. But we finally had a team that was able to take FlyQuest the distance, and make it look good through 2 games. Obviously, Shopify did a pretty good job in their first playoff match, but I really think that right now, looking at C9, unfortunately for Shopify, I think their run will come to an end just with how well they did drafting through 5 games. They have obviously that under their belt now, where Shopify's only gone to 4 games, and it's looked a little iffy on some of their drafts against Liquid, but it'll all come up to Palafaker. I think C9 versus Shopify. He's done a lot better. Fudge always has been kind of solid in my book, but Palafox was kind of that, leaning edge of where he's finally been doing a lot better. He transformed from Palafox to Palafaker in the playoffs. They look a lot better, but he has to go against Loki now.
Yeah.
Take it, Davis.
So for me, I wanted to talk about their game against Liquid more because I think the reason I made this pick was because of the lack of experience coming in from the jungler of Liquid. And from my understanding, I'm not claiming to be one of the most knowledgeable people about League, but I just think the way I see the game, the jungler makes such a big impact on the game. And having a player like Contracts with the experience that he has in this situation where it's do or die in the playoffs, I think that weighed a lot in this matchup. And I think he really had control of a lot of these matches. And I think that's really where Shopify was able to win this series. I think he was able to just really take control of objectives better, really get his players ahead in their lanes. As Chris mentioned, Palafox was tremendous throughout the series. So just really good from Shopify, hoping that they can continue it on. It'll be a big, big test.
So on your point there, actually, if you look at the stats, I believe that Shopify was -3 kills, so they had 44 total kills over the series to 47 for Liquid, but their objective control was a lot higher. So as you're saying, Contracts actually did an amazing job, and the team did an amazing job playing around the objectives. Actually, game 1, they ended up having a pretty cool rise play of where Palafox kind of went and was like, oh, I'm going to run into the enemy team because most likely they're starting Elder, right? Well, Rice is just going to use Realm Walk, gets them up at the top lane, then Inhibitors open, and they just run in and take the base and end up winning the game. And that's a massive, micro misplay from the side of Team Liquid, who doesn't have that ability to think because, they're trying to push UG into it, as you said, and have everything around that. And then on top of that, the shot calling coming out of the side of Shopify Rebellion has just been on point lately.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, and Cloud9, what a fantastic performance transition away from Shopify. Cloud9, I mean, they put on a great show. If you look at the last time FlyQuest and Cloud9 met just a couple weeks back, 3-0, FlyQuest completely dominates. But Cloud9, I mean, their draft looked a lot more put together this time. We see Thanatos pulling out the Yorick, right? But Whippo's ready for that, right? He's kind of pioneered it. Picks this Cho'Gath, just completely out-sustains the lane, runs away with the game. And then we finally we transition this whole story through this enormous Nemesis pick ban style draft. And we end up with Gragas versus Gnar in the top lane, right? And Gragas has been pioneered lately by Boss, right? Everyone's learned how to play it again. And just what a fantastic performance from this series. So if I look at Cloud9, how they played, and I look at how much Shopify dominated Liquid, Davis, are you staying on the Shopify bandwagon?
I'm not. I think it ends here. I think it ends here. Me and Chris were talking about this right before we came in. I think it would be a tremendous thing if they could take down C9, but I wouldn't ride the train anymore.
I'm disappointed. Chris, I assume you feel the same way.
I feel the same way. I just think that the step up that you're taking from from Liquid, APA, unfortunately, he's on or off. But Loki has always been on throughout the playoffs. He's been consistently good, even in the matches that they had. The seeding matches, he actually did fairly well versus FlyQuest there. But Thanatos, I feel like FlyQuest has a good way that they play. So they overload usually one side and then make a macro play on the other so that they're kind of winning one or the other. Now, when they are unable to kill Thanatos in the top lane or really shut him down, it's when FlyQuest has C9 has really started to evolve. And then I don't think Fudge can really do that. I think Whippo is one of the only North LTA North top laners who can contest Thanatos in a 1v1, obviously, that we saw a couple times. Fudge will have his work cut out for him. I think Loki's just going to run mid, and then you just have a solid bot, plus Blabber is a Smite Lord here at the moment.
Yeah.
So contracts, obviously, they've both been playing against each other for quite a while, so they know each other really well. But I just, that on top of the drafting, and since Cloud9 has been to that 5, I think that's going to give them a little bit of the edge over Shopify now.
I think that's well said. Nick, anything to add at all?
Oh, no, these guys crushed it.
Yeah.
I just sat back and learned a bunch.
Hey, as the other Office League champion, Chris is here. He can just take it all. He's down with it. So let's go ahead and jump across the pond then, because perhaps, I mean, we did our pick'ems. Let's face it, all of us suck.
We all did.
We all sucked. We all assumed Carbine Corp would run through. I picked G2 in the finals. Everyone else picked Carbine Corp, right? And we see KOI make the run. You see they enter losers finals in the semi or in the losers finals.
Yep.
They get knocked down by G2. I mean, just what a banger game. 3-2 KOI, and G2 cursed again, man. Another split. Last split, it's Carmine Corp goes to losers, come up, sweeps them in the finals. G2, they're already promised a slot at MSI, but they come here, lose 3-1. Overall, really like disappointed in how Caps plays, but I mean the storyline's big here. JoJo, right? We sent a Canadian over to beat the best mid laner possibly on the western side of the world, right? Caps didn't even look like he stood a chance against JoJo.
Caps and JoJo play really similar. So they play really chaotic styles that kind of really mess up the other teams. And I really feel like who is on or off that day? Obviously, the first time they played, Caps was super on and JoJo was super off. He's getting caught multiple times, unable to really dictate and help his team push out. Then we do the inverse, we swap, and then of course, he actually says that they played against G2, they played Kassadin and then scrims, lost in 15 minutes. They bring it out first time versus KC and win with it. And then he decides to play it again in game number 4 against G2. And it kind of gets shut down. He actually gets thresh hooked from across the wall, ends up dying, which puts Kassadin back a lot. For you who don't know, Kassadin is a scaling champ, so you want him to kind of stay within the tempo as much as possible to get to that level 16. I wish we had that party lower third that they kept putting up on the thing that every time he got 16, his ultimate is finally fully charged. You have all points in it, and he just does a ton of damage across the board. But you see that they get taken out, and he still is able to make his way back, showing that he was the superior jungle in that. And of course, you have the rest of the team. Merwin actually in that game 4 saved them with that top Cassante solo on the Broken Blade. I think that actually turned the whole game around. It gave them that time to get the tempo back and allow JoJo to get back up. Of course, Supa's been amazing across the whole entire playoff, so I can't say enough about him. But I really think that KOI, as I was saying, for LTA, didn't have enough games. LEC had just enough games for KOI to finally get into that tempo that they needed. We saw them when they did their homestand, when they went to Spain and played in the Madrid arena, that they were doing amazing then as well. And since then, they've just really taken off.
I'm glad you said that about Mirren because I couldn't remember when it happened. I just knew he was playing Cassante, but that solo kill was huge. I mean, he killed him right at tower, was easily able to push tower, and they just had so much pressure that they really didn't know how to deal with it, and the team immediately had to go deal with it. So just a great series from KOI. Super surprised what they were able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at some of the picks here, and I'm just like, I just can't emphasize enough my disappointment in Caps. I mean, I don't even feel like he was picking champs that are like akin to him, right? Like he's picking Talia. I mean, you could argue that's a Caps one. Rise, maybe getting inspired, right, by Shopify, but he did not pilot it the same way with the same, using the ultimate for map maneuvers. And then Annie, right? Annie doesn't feel like a Caps champ.
A little bit lately, he has been playing a little bit more after her kind of buffs to it, and he actually did pretty well with it, I believe, in their first series against him, which is maybe why he tried to bring it out. But the one thing I wanted to touch on that is that they actually have really similar champion pools between it. So I think some of them taking like the Talia, when he took the Talia, I believe JoJo had taken Ari that game. Yep. And I believe at that point, what G2 is also trying to do is get some of the JoJo champions taken away from Fearless. So you play Ari, you play Talia on that game, that's 2 JoJo champs taken away. So you start forcing him into some maybe these other champs that aren't so good. Of course, you're banning off the Yone, so he can't play that, etc. And then it kind of forces maybe JoJo into this, like, because he's younger than Caps, of course, so Caps is supposed to have more experience, maybe able to pull out some more of these niche picks like the Annie, like you said, maybe like the Rise, and then, win with them. Instead, he's pulling out the Kassadin and winning. So I think maybe that was a little bit of what G2 may have been trying to do. Of course, I'm not in their scrim room when they're doing everything like that, but I kind of see them doing that, but it kind of like went against them at that point.
Yeah, and most important, I mean, I kind of touched on it last week, right? But if I'm G2, I might be hiding some of my pocket picks, right? Because you're already qualified for one MSI and for EWC, right? So both those regions there. I forgot to touch on it with North America, but FlyQuest guaranteed EWC, but we don't know because we only get one MSI guy because our region sucks. But I mean, overall, good discussion. Nick, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to talk about. Chris and I were talking briefly before we came in here. It's the fact that I don't know what the exact number is. We'll let Chris chime in here in a second, but only, I believe, 2 teams from first stand are going to actually even make MSI. Like, that's insane just to see how much is. What was the actual number, Chris?
Oh, yeah. So right now, only CFO is the only team that qualified for first stand that's making MSI. So we've lost KC, we've lost Liquid, and then, of course, forgetting the last one, but we had CFO that, came in, and then HLE versus Gen G will take place. Oh, it was TS. TS lost to WE in their lower bracket as well. Shout out to anyone Legends who went ahead and qualified today for LPL. Little side note, but now HLE is the only second one. Of course, they have a tough road ahead of them.
Yeah.
First, they have to play Gen G, and then we have a KT team who is, I believe, in their last couple of matches, 11 matches in a row that they've won, series-wise as well, going in there. So they're on a hot streak right now. KT will have to play T1 first, and then, of course, whoever wins that match will play the winner or the loser of Gen G versus HLE. But there's a good chance that only CFO makes it right now.
So then I have a quick question for the 3 of my league people in here then. With that being said, from first stand to MSI, would you say more of the changes on meta or Fearless Draft that we don't see the same teams? Real quick.
I think, personally, Fearless Draft.
I would agree with Fearless Draft. I mean, I was a hater of KC back when they were in first stand on the show. I said blatantly they didn't deserve to be there. Should have been G2. Obviously, G2 doesn't deserve to be in finals either.
I'm going to switch it up. I actually think it was the meta on more traditional laning that kind of changed everything.
Yeah, because you were talking about lane swaps the other day when we brought this topic up too. So yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the notes, sorry, I'm not as seasoned as CJ. CJ, man, you did this so well. I get appreciation every time I do it. We're going into clips. So talk a little bit about this segment for the folks at home who may not be aware. Everyone on the show, they go online, they find some clips that they thought were pretty sick from the weekend, right? The action that happened across esports. We submit them in, production goes and works their magic, and then we display it all for you guys here. Our first clip of the day, I forgot to run this through. I believe it's Nick. So Nick, you want to tell us about your clip?
Yeah, no, the coolest thing I saw this weekend was FaZe Kerrigan was actually having a lot of fun. Let's watch it here.
This one is called anti-long pop. What did you guys do? Long pop. Come on. Step up the game. I really need to talk to them, so take a time out, I think,
Dude. Kerrigan having a blast. You could see Simple there loving and having some good times on Counter-Strike again, and that's what we need to see. We need to see the GOAT having fun and playing. Unfortunately, yesterday he didn't have as much fun and was telling the other team to shut the F up, but them having fun, Kerrigan having fun, that's the phase we need to see to carry us out of stage 2 and into stage 3.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of a Simple hater, right? Because I'm not as familiar with CS. I'm not like a Simple fanboy from the old days. But man, I just love the way this FaZe team is. And I'm now rooting for them, right? I want them to go far. I want like that storyline to evolve where they beat Vitality or whatever. Like there is a world in this bracket where they end up, like if they lose and Falcons keep winning out, that it's FaZe Falcons to decide who goes through and who goes home. That would be a banger.
Yeah, that would be
talk
insane.
About viewership numbers, because Simple is pulling viewership numbers.
Yeah. It's really exciting to see Simple back, and the main thing is, like you said, I'm just excited to see Kerrigan happy. You know, you got a guy who's whatever, he's like 35 years old, still giving his whole entire life to this scene and just trying to make sure it survives. And the start of this year was terrible, especially for their standards and what they had built. You know, making grand finals at Shanghai and being such a good team, and then to start this year how they did. I felt really bad for Kerrigan, so it's really, really nice to see just that energy back into him on stage.
Totally agree.
I don't know what he was saying, but he was going at it. I think something about a timeout, maybe them calling a timeout. I saw the little hand gesture, I think, there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he was telling me about timeout.
One of the biggest things for Kerrigan, he's the IGL. He's like known to be one of the biggest brains in the entire scene, and he basically read their play before it happened. He's like, oh, you guys were going to go for a long pop. What did you do? You long popped. He's like, you guys are rattled. You're predictable. You might need to call a timeout. And everybody was losing it, and they were having a good time.
Yeah, that's the best part about these arena games.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the other thing, not to go unnoticed that I almost skipped down that I had in my notes here. That was against Heretic, who knocked them out at Dreamhack Dallas, and they were up 8-1. They were having a blast.
Oh yeah, because Heroic was coming back and
They were calling them bots.
They're like, "Who's bots? We're not a bot." And
Yep.
then, like they looked like bots.
That was bad.
And for that to be the matchup that kicks off stage 2, I mean, you couldn't have picked a better way to kick
perfect.
it off.
That was great.
Set the stage perfectly.
That was my favorite moment from the weekend.
Next clip, we've got Davis. Davis, what kind of good stuff did you bring for us today?
So we're staying at the major, but this time we're transferring over to VP, and we're going to look at Flit, who hit, I think, by far the best play so far of the event, but an absolutely insane play here, coming in on Dust 2. We can get Pride to roll that clip. Here we go. So it's all chaotic. They're hitting side. It's 5-on-4 here. He's hidden in this channel. They haven't checked the corner. They're not waiting. He's waiting for his moment. He's trying to figure out which one do I take out first. Takes them all out. Other guy, can he get him? Nope. All 4.
What a spray transfer, man.
I'm upset that this wasn't submitted for top 8. I'm just going to say.
That wasn't on there?
No, we're going to have late submission. Sorry.
That will have to be on there.
We'll cue it for next week.
That will have to be on there. But tremendous play right there. Just what a pro does. Just waiting for his moment, didn't take it too early, understood the one guy was planning the bomb and that he was no threat, takes out the one that was about to turn around and kill him. Just clinical and, like you said, spray transfer. Just great play.
Yeah, trigger discipline, just not to shoot prematurely. It's like I know I would have, right? It's like I'm sitting there, I get like a panic. I'm in the moment because the guy's planting the bomb. You maybe don't want it to get it down. So you're just like, I need to shoot this guy. But he's like, you can tell the calculation. Maybe like they're calming about it. They're like taking bets. Like, you think I can take all 3? How many think I can take at once, right? And then just to lose that peak on the op for the 4th player, I didn't catch the name of him. It's just like, come on, man. Like, you need to clutch that up if you're the opper on that, right? Because CS2 favors the swinger, right? In this moment, you swing around the corner. You don't want to be the guy waiting. But just overall, I mean, great. Did you have anything after that?
No, you pretty much covered the point. Mine was the trigger discipline on it. I always, for like shooters, for me, it's a little harder to understand. So I'm from the MOBA land, but one of the things I love seeing is just trigger discipline. So that was great.
Well, I am actually clip 3. Wow, I thought I was 4. I have a clip here that I think is the best moment.
Okay.
I think it deserves a spray on the map. Okay, so production, cue this clip here. This is a banger. We got FlyQuest versus Ty Lue. I know Nick's going to appreciate this. And here we got Jam Young. Pop. 5 headies with a pistol. USPS, just the momentum to start that match on pistol. 5 banging like that. I mean, Ty Lue was off to the races at that point. And I know, Nick, you've been a Ty Lue fan this whole time.
Yeah, unfortunately, they just went out to Heroic in Game 3 before we got in here. But nothing beats a post-game G ice cream with the casters. But unfortunately, no more ice cream for G going forward.
Yeah, I think Ty Lue has played this event very well just from like a persona perspective. Yeah. I mean, I think like as someone who hasn't seen as many of these teams, right? Ty Lue, Legacy, like the way that they've been on screen, like the atmosphere that they've created, it's like more people want to see these guys because they're just fun, right? And I think that's good. It gives something for the community to invest in. And Counter-Strike, I mean, they just keep, in my opinion, continually setting the esport far and above away, like every other esport, from just personalities, the on-screen production, and all that stuff like that. But I mean, I'm calling for it because CS2, I don't think we have as many sprays on the map of moments. And like people online, like I get it, it didn't like affect the outcome of the game. It's not simple, but like, dog, it was a sick clip. Like that was put a spray on that post.
That was a pretty sick clip. I mean, he just obliterated all of them.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say, like you said, I think what Ty Lue has done is great with showing their personality on stage, showing that, hey, we're really good at Counter-Strike, but we like other stuff too. Like, but I just think they've been great meshing with everybody around. Obviously there's a strict language barrier there, so they're trying their best to communicate. But it's just been a joy to watch them try to communicate with everybody and just see how they hold themselves and how they carry themselves. It's been really fun watching it. I think the scene needs more of that, more personality, more showing us who you are, not just that you're good at CS.
Yeah, and another one of those last seeds that probably you would argue if you're going on VLR alone shouldn't have even been there to make it out of stage 1 and have a good performance in stage 2.
Yeah,
it's just great to see all of these teams make such runs.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's beautiful storylines. That's the summary of this major right now, and I hope it continues forward. And like, I just love that it's not a 2-team race, right? I love that we're not like going in now and being like, "Oh, Falcon's going to dominate." So now, like, I was talking with Skill Diff, right? I was talking with Patrick and Dylan last night about this, like Oh yeah, anything's possible. Like, can Legacy outperform Donk on Spirit? Maybe. Like, they were looking good, right? This is something that, like, before you go back a week, if I say that Falcons are go down 0-2, this whole show is called stupid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I just love it. Transition on. We got one more clip, maybe the best for last. Chris, show me what you got here, man.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll the clip here. I moved away from CS. So something new.
Surprise, surprise.
But speaking of stages, let's take a look at what LEC did here. Spirit Blossom in full effect. Look at that trophy, and look at that NA mid pulling EU to a championship here. Everything is good about it. If you haven't seen it, you should go back, take a look over the weekend. Their entrances were actually amazing. They're walking out pretty much out of a Spirit Blossom forest. So everything, I think that EU, I'll have to see what NA does here, our LTA North. But I think the way that they're kind of incorporating all the themes for it is a big step forward, further the production of Riot. I think a lot of people have been saying that, oh, you know, unfortunately, Riot production is still going down. It's not as fun to watch. And I think them putting effort into stuff like this, like the stage, going with the themes and everything like that, having actually a really nice trophy for just one split is pushing them in the right direction. I think it makes it a little more fun to watch for everybody because you're having those visuals. It's really bringing you into the game because, you know, a lot of newer players aren't really getting into the esports scene as much, you know. Good thing we have Kadriel. He's bringing in over 100,000 people, but it's a lot better when you're like, ooh, cool, they're actually using the Spirit Blossom. I know about that from, you know, playing the game. Oh, they have it in the stage here. It looks really cool. Let me watch the rest of it for it. You know, they had the petals falling down for literally the whole entire time that they were doing interviews. They just had, you know, thousands of those little discs that look like the petals coming down. So it's really cool to see them stepping up production value. They did an amazing job on both of the road shows. Obviously, they had some technical difficulties, but, you know, LEC has really stepped it up.
One thing that I really like about this is I almost see it as kind of like, in my which maybe this just makes no sense at all, but I kind of see it. I kind of see it as like a time capsule in a sense. Like when we look back, when we're 3 years down the road, and you think back, like, dang, remember the Spirit Blossom era? And now you can attach like, oh yeah, MKOI, they walked out on stage, and there was. I just think it gives you a lot more ways that you can reflect back to these events and realize like, oh, it's tied to the game, and oh, it's tied to this, rather than just like, oh, there's a bunch of lights flashing around, G2 won. What year was that? It's like, oh, nah, that was the Spirit Blossom year, and that was in this time. So I think it's really cool to see it incorporated.
I hadn't even thought of that point, but I think it's fantastic. I mean, you're totally right. It adds that extra layer of memorability. That's going to be a clutch from me. You know, double clutch in it.
So it makes sense. I was sitting here thinking, I was like, this might not make any sense at all to them.
Nah, I mean, I think it's great. And like now I'm looking back and I'm like, they didn't do anything like that for Noxus, right? In season one, like just imagine like.
What would you do for that?
Oh, you
gas the whole arena?
The loser has to go on the guillotine, right?
Bring back the Tyler 1 Draven cosplay. Just throw him in there.
Yeah, good.
No, Davis, I mean, that's one of the best points you've ever made on this show. I'm ashamed CJ wasn't here to appreciate that. But CJ, when you're watching from home, and folks at home, do you agree with Davis? Is this a good time to have a time capsule? Are you going to remember Spirit Blossom as the event? Or do you think Davis is an idiot? Do you think he makes no sense?
Like most of the time.
Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you, guys. Let's transition forward, right? Speaking of clutch or kick, it was almost the perfect segue, but we went back to appreciate Davis. Clutch or kick, what is it, folks, right? We've kind of changed the evolution of this a little bit. Clutch or kick, we go home. We don't tell each other these topics beforehand. We find these in secrecy, and we bring them to our production. They cue up the graphics, and we are going to try to convince our other people on this show to clutch or kick our topic. If you bring something and it's cool, we're going to clutch you. If you bring something and you sound dumb, we're going to kick it. And so, folks at home, again, another little call to action. If you want to clutch or kick a topic, interact with us down below in the comments. We'd be happy to have you join in on the fun and submit a topic. If you have something you'd like to get our take on for a clutch or kick, we'd be happy to have one of us bring that to the show and then represent that. Clutch or kick, who's up first?
Davis.
I am.
Davis.
Yep.
Kick us off.
Starting off in Call of Duty world. So I saw recently Black Ops 7 was announced. And so my clutch or kick, this is a waste of time and it's a waste of energy. And it's a money grab. Call of Duty, I vividly remember when I was competing in Call of Duty, I think it was around Vanguard time maybe, Call of Duty said, the next CODs that we make, it will no longer be a yearly release. We will take plenty of years in between and we will focus on a game. Where the heck has that gone? I think they realized, oh, if we don't release a game every year, people aren't going to be paying us $80 every time to buy this. So I think that's really the ultimate reason why we're seeing another Call of Duty developed. And so the one thing that I want to say to try to convince y'all and to make you understand what I'm saying, the biggest change that they equate to Black Ops 7 is movement's coming. Oh, movement change. We're going to be able to wall run. Omni movement was just brought to Black Ops 6. They just changed the movement. It's not the movement that's going to get people to your game or get people away from your game, and they simply just want more money, so they'll release another game. It's a waste of time and a waste of energy.
I'll go first. I'm clutching this. I've been so sick and tired of the Call of Duty yearly releases for probably, I can't even count, a lot of years. Stop. Just stop making them every year. I couldn't agree more.
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll clutch it. I don't even know what's been leading up to like Black Ops 6. I think one of the last ones I remember playing was back on the Xbox 360, World War II maybe it was. After that, I don't even know if there's like an actual storyline that they're using now for it. So
they're jumping all over the place.
Not.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I can't see any other reason for them to keep doing it. I'd like to see them improve more on the game that they already have out. Seems like it would probably be the better step in the right direction for them.
I was really hoping someone else would kick this topic, but Davis, something crazy is about to happen on the show, and you're gonna get a super clutch because I'm the biggest Call of Duty hater this planet has ever seen. I think that all these games are letdowns. The biggest thing it's got going for it right now is that it's on Game Pass. I will never personally buy another Call of Duty. If they release a zombies mode separate or another company, great idea, make your own zombies mode. I'll play that. That's the only thing I'm interested in Call of Duty. Perhaps the most hype or maybe the biggest letdown is they're apparently not doing Warzone for this one. They're going back to OG Warzone, Blackout, I think is what it's called. Blackout 2. Who gives a crap, right? It was their very first Warzone iteration. I don't know. I agree it's a big waste of time. That's the rumor.
That's trash.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
That's tragic.
That's
not official yet.
Yeah, not official, but I mean, what an absolute tragedy if it is. And it's coming from Treyarch, who has previously been Activision's like savior, so to speak. I just think Call of Duty has a lot of false promises. I'll follow it just purely for the sake of the esport. Wall running, I think that was last back in Black Ops 4, right? Are you going to bring back class systems too? Am I going to get super abilities?
Yeah.
They were kind of cool.
They were kind of cool.
They were kind of cool, if I'm being honest. Who's next?
I believe I am.
Chris.
Yes. So let's pull it up. So we're going back to League of Legends a little more.
Surprise!
Surprise!
We finally have something fun. JoJo couldn't make an international tournament in NA, well, after a couple years, so he had to go to an easier region to make one. We finally have some trash talking from APA, who is probably the only and best trash talker in League of Legends scene. Captain Flowers said a little bit good, but for me, I believe League needs more of this. I think this is good. I think it helps, set up that we had the EU NA for a while clashing heads, and we haven't really heard much about that anymore. And I think we need more of it. Obviously APA he destroyed EU in their one first hand game, then got destroyed. But he's still clapping back. He's still trying to go after EU. Obviously, he won't even be at MSI anymore. I was kind of hoping JoJo would have said something after he won, the championship and kind of came back. We didn't really hear much from that. But I think the trash talk and the banter in League needs to get stepped up a little bit. And I think it would make it a lot more entertaining. So I believe that this is good from APA. It needs to keep coming out. If he's going to keep doing that, Team Liquid, hold on to him because this makes League a lot more fun.
So I wanna clarify. Needs more drama or needs like a rivalry?
I think it just needs more like of the trash talk, hype up type, just whatever comes out from players, get the, I guess rivalries, yes, between like NA, EU, a little more up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna clutch it up then. Yeah, I think dramas help build storylines and help your more casual fans be a little bit more involved. I'm all about it, Chris.
I'm going to do a mix. I'm going to clutch this because I think definitely it needs more drama and that will help viewership no matter what. But I'm going to kick the fact that it's APA because stop talking trash and getting called as much as you do and throwing games.
Wow.
I'm gonna kick it. That's for a reason you may not know, right? Is I don't actually think that this is what we need more of, right? We have enough NA versus EU trash talk, right? So that's not like we need more of that. We get that all the time. That's like the natural rivalry.
For League.
Yeah, for League. We're the bottom of the barrel, We're the bottom of the barrel regions. Right, we're crap talking.
We're
to each
near
other.
airport. We
Yeah.
We crap talk each other.
Yeah,
we
we're
can't
crap
touch
talking each other
others.
because we can't talk to Korea
No,
like
that's-
that, right? Like, that's dad. That's
They'll smack
yeah,
you.
That's dad. Okay. In the region though, I would love to see more of it, right? But Riot finds people.
So like
Right.
inner region.
Yeah, inner
So,
region.
like-
Inner region. I want to see that
So
more.
APA
I don't want
going
to
after like Loki or something like
exactly.
that.
Like
Okay,
I don't
cool.
want to end the game and say like, oh yeah, competition was good. I want Blippo to get off stage and say Thanatos is trash. Why is this guy even in North America with me?
On this note, they kind of used to show us some of the like all chat, but they don't really show it to us anymore. Like JoJo was all chatting during his match versus G2, and they didn't show us anything from there. We would love to see what they're saying because obviously, I was watching Kedro's point of view. He's calling JoJo a rat because you can see JoJo typing out something after he does, player. I think I want to see what they're saying. Obviously, if it's a little too, off the rails, maybe hide it. But if it's just something like, ooh, fast base for you after you kill someone, throw that on screens. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
That'd be hilarious.
that's what I want because that's when you build stories. And that's where League, like, I talked last week, Chris, I can't remember, I'm getting old, but I don't think you were on the show last week. But, one of my things was like North American or LTA is on life support, right? Like the viewership's going down. And I think that's true. And I think a big reason for that is because we don't have those rivalries because everyone just like respects each other.
Yeah.
Like, let some hatred flow.
We don't
man.
have that TSM versus
competition,
C9
man.
Yeah.
going at each other.
We can respect each other for being good competitors, but at the end of the day, we're competing. There's got to be some type of going against each other and heads butting.
We used to have the Reggie versus Jack
Hotshot.
and Hotshot, all those going after each other, But no, you're right. Not more, not
Yeah,
too much.
Dyrus almost burning the TSM house down with the microwave. I mean, then like everyone memeing.
Where's
on
that?
it. Yeah, so we need some good stuff with that. Up next, Nick, your clutch kick topic.
It is my turn. I thought it was your turn.
No, I'm with it. I'm the host. I'm reading right
He's
there.
going, he's
Thanks,
going
Pro-
dead last.
Thanks, production.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. It's okay to pay for video games. We have a tweet here from the Crusader saying, I will never pay $80 for a video game. And I just think that is extremely faded. In a world with so many free-to-play games and freemium and all of this, it might be okay in the multiplayer scene. But if you're talking about a single-player game, you have to be able to support the developers who made the game. If we stop supporting developers, a lot of video games are going to go by the wayside. We have to be able to pay for video games, plain and simple.
I'll go first. I'm going to clutch it. As soon as I can pick sign up. I'm going to clutch it. I think it's okay to pay for video games. Like Borderlands, we've talked about that on the show, right? That game's going to be $80. Pricing out of the developer's hands most times. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I'm going to buy your game because I want to hopefully have a good Borderlands 4. And I want to show this studio that I want to invest in more. In the same way, guys, it's okay to not pay for video games, right?
Yes.
Go back to Davis's point. If you want Call of Duty to change, there's literally only one way to do that, and it's don't buy it.
Yes, I'll go next. I'm going to clutch this. I don't buy many single-player games because of the reason of their prices until they go on Steam sale. And you have Steam sales, you have other sales, you have publisher sales. If you don't have the money for just pay for it at that time, that is fine. There's no FOMO for it, obviously, or you can watch it on a stream if you really don't want to pay for it. You can do that, but if not, just wait for it to go on sale. Wait for it to go on Game Pass or something if it's on Xbox, and then stop complaining. If you have the money, get it. If you don't, that's it.
Mr. Host, am I allowed to interject? Because I
Go
can
for
see his wheels a turning over there.
Keep in mind,
I'm thinking hard about this.
keep in mind, he doesn't play single player games.
No, and this is fine. And I don't want to say that I'm saying you have to pay $80 for a video game. But whatever that price may be, it's okay to pay for video games. Everything doesn't have to be free. Don't expect a handout.
Davis, is it okay to pay? Clutch your kick.
Yes, it is okay to pay. But
Pick up your sign, dude.
what you have to do-
but you missed the
it is. It's okay. It is okay to pay for video
Yeah,
games,
super
and
cool.
it's okay to
Yeah,
pay $80 for a video game. But think about the game that you're buying and what it truly is, because like we just talked about earlier, I don't think it's okay to pay $80 for Call of Duty anymore. I genuinely don't think it's okay to keep doing that. So I think it really just depends on the project that you're paying for. And ultimately, it's up to you to decide if it's worth $80. But I think there's plenty of games out there that are for sure worth $80.
Now that I got my super clutch in, I want to be clear. It's like I also am just completely against pay to win games. Like a lot of your like Hearthstones and games like that where it's like the more money you spend, the better you are at the video game. And it's like I don't like that model. It's okay to pay for a base game. And what brought this up wholeheartedly was CJ last week saying that he didn't want to pay for another Destiny expansion. It's like, I will gladly keep supporting a game that I love if they keep making new content and making the game better. No question about it.
I think this is funny. I'm sitting here laughing to myself because currently my favorite game is Escape from Tarkov. But the point that I was about to just make is you shouldn't be paying $80 for a video game that isn't a complete product and done. But then I think it would be pretty contradictory for me to say that.
You paid $130 to have all that vault space?
Well, yeah.
And I've had it in beta for 5 years now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, and think about it. I mean, I don't know when you bought Tarkov. When I bought Tarkov, it was $20.
Yeah.
So, like, I got in early. I got it for cheaper. That's an okay model, too. Get in early. And, like, with Call of Duty, like, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not even going to download the Game Pass to support the player numbers there. I just, but it is on Game Pass, for those that care. You want to save money, Game Pass, I mean, God's gift to gaming.
I guess next clutch or kick will be yearly games. Sports games, Call of Duty.
Yeah, we'll get
Waste
there.
the money.
We're like going around the circle of gaming. Like, what's okay right now?
Waste the money.
Yeah. Transition to my topic now, okay? My topic's a little near and dear to my heart. So I think that casual online multiplayer gaming is dead, right? And what I mean by that is every game right now, it has to meet a certain threshold for speed, pace. Like you have to be high skilled. We want wall running. We want omni movement. We want to keep moving fast. I just want to be able to hop on a game and have fun. And it's a lot of reasons, right? Like no like hate to this game, but it's a lot of reasons why after going to IEM and watching Halo, that Halo seems appealing to me. Because Halo is like one of the more old school speed games. It is that like arcadey style shooter. But it just looks like you can get on, just like have a good time with a few games, right? Get your reps in, get out. You don't have to worry about getting on, doing friggin' jumps through spaceports in Fortnite, cranking 90s building walls, like have to be in the cars. Like when games try to pull momentum down and they try to slow the game down to appease more casual audiences, the game gets hated. Like Splitgate is a great example. That game does look fun. It does look enjoyable, but the skill gap and like the skill expression is so high that it's like if I get on there, I'm going to meet Nick's team Envy or something on there and just get absolutely swapped, right? So I just think that the casual online gaming experience is going away. No one knows how to just get on and have fun anymore. It's just all competitive. So that's what I got.
I'm going to clutch that because I've fallen victim to his exact claims.
Yeah. Oh, wow. The pro player guy.
No. It's you're not looking in the right places. There's so many different games and so many different communities and so many different playlists that you could find something that's casual. And even in some of the ranked lobbies, they're extremely casual where you don't have people, it again, depends on the skill range, of course, but you don't have people hard commenting over the mic or whatever the case may be. Even in Splitgate, there's crazy like bat modes, and Halo has a bunch of different casual game modes and big team battling. Nobody's sweating in there. But however, I do completely agree with you on the fact that skill-based matchmaking in social playlists has ruined it. But there's still plenty of casual multiplayer game modes out there. You just got to be looking.
So Nick hates me.
Apparently.
I'm thinking about it as well and trying to even think of to a game like League of Legends. And you think about it like as a transition, Ambessa. Yeah. Like that champion takes a piano finger to play her correctly. And it's just on that movement, as he said, we don't see champs too much anymore, like the older, like, oh, we're just going to press a couple buttons and get there. You have to combo your way out of it. You have to have big brain. Mel now, you have to have fast reaction time in order to make sure that her reflection reflects correctly. On top of that, you look at all the shooters. Obviously I can't keep up because, I'm just, complete potato aim regardless. So I say all that. But, I'm just, Deadlock, is another one that actually took me a little while to get in because a lot of the sliding movement was really pivotal to the gameplay as well. And I'm, trying to get Yogi to carry me through that because at least he has good aim. I have potato aim, trying to figure out where to go. But, thinking of how they're trying to transition even the MOBA, using, third-person shooter requires that movement and that skill as well.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's just meta slaves, right? So, like, for League, I mean, guys, I've been doing fiddlestick support since before it was cool. And the amount of times that I've been roasted and called ridiculous names that I cannot say on this show, like just from like going out there and having fun. It's slaying out, by the way. Right, I challenge anyone, bro. I'm one of the best fiddlesticks on this planet. Okay, I just get that chant, but you just can't get on and have a good time anymore. But that's gonna do it for our Clutch or Kick segment. We got something else after that, but CJ would be prepared. We got pick bands. I knew what was coming up next. Pick bands, guys. So we're gonna have 10 topics, if memory serves me correct. 10 topics. You're gonna see that on your screen now at home. We have our pick'ems that we do on Thursday. We normally pick our winner from that. So our winner last week, because we all suck and Chris wasn't on the show, is Davis. Davis, just sweeping the competition right now, all from the Shopify pick.
One single Shopify
one pick. The rest, we all got it wrong. But Davis had hope in one thing. So we're going to have an order to this. Chris band, Nick band. They've got 10 topics. They're going to get rid of topics. They're going to choose, for you folks at home, what's the most important thing. So if they ban something that you wanted to see us talk about, yell at them down below in the comments. Chris, tell me what you want to ban from this topic.
Okay, well, after everything we talked about today, let's go ahead and ban off Black Ops 7. We've covered that.
Oh, we don't
well.
need to pick on that anymore.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'm gonna hold that against you though. I get the power to pick the winner today. I get to be CJ. So Nick, after that kick.
Yeah, I was like, I have already lost. It doesn't even matter what I take off the board here, but from a couple queued ups ago, we know how I feel about retirements. So let's get Perks retiring off the board.
I'm a little upset with that because that's a good retirement right there. Davis, what are we talking about? What's the number one important topic from this list that you want to see?
I think I'm going to go with the Splitgate Battle Royale because it's caught my eye over the weekend. And I wasn't a big fan at all of Splitgate 1, like literally at all. I played it probably 2 games and then just uninstalled it. But watching Splitgate 2 and the Battle Royale especially, I don't think I'll be much of a fan of the multiplayer experience. But the Battle Royale, I think, could be very entertaining for me. I like Battle Royales a lot. That's where I find my fun in gaming. Like we were talking about a little bit earlier, if I'm playing like a Counter-Strike or Valorant or something ranked, I'm trying to win. But when I'm playing a Battle Royale, like I'm just there having fun. Obviously, I'm trying to win, but that's where I try to have fun. So I'm definitely going to give it a try. I've got it installed. I think the portal mechanics within a Battle Royale seems really cool, so excited for that.
Yeah, and this head developer, he's saying all the right buzzwords, right? And he's getting some backlash, right? And you're going to get that in today's time, especially when you wear a hat that does have, political references, right? Make games great again. He swears, take it at face value. I'll back him because he seems to be overall making a good game, but he just wants to have fun with FPSs. He's tired of the same Call of Duty every year. He's really speaking like he should be on Queued Up, right? So, hey, if you're out there, come on the show.
I think it's really interesting, too. If you think back, like right now, we're seeing a lot of extraction shooters come out, a lot of stuff like this. A few years ago, we saw a lot of Battle Royales come out all at the same time. This one's kind of missed that curve. That curve really destroyed a lot of Battle Royales, and it also blossomed a few Fortnite and Apex Legends. But with that kind of dying off, and you've seen Fortnite has fallen, Apex has fallen, possibly some, area for improvement for that Splitgate 2.
Absolutely well said. Chris, what do you want to talk about?
All right. I love my fighting games, so we're going with the Invincible fighting game that was being shown. And big thing about this, so I love tag team battles. So it is a 3-on-3, so I loved Marvel vs. Capcom. Dragon Ball Z was a lot of fun to watch. I never played that one, though. But a big thing is that the studio making this was the one that made KI. So Killer Instinct Studio is actually making this game, and it's one of my favorite kind of side games to watch at all the big events. So I think they did a really good job with KI. I think they'll do a really good job with this, and obviously Invincible is blown up, so it should get a little bit of traction. Obviously, it won't overtake, a lot of the bigger games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, but I think it could be a niche one that they throw into maybe, next year's rotation for EVO, just kind of as one of those side games that we have a couple of pros that just want to play a secondary game will jump on.
Yeah, am I mistaken? Because the title for that was Invincible Versus, right? So they kind of left them open, like Invincible versus Marvel, Invincible versus Capcom. Right. Like what?
So we haven't
I wonder if that's going to be the back half.
And I'm wondering if it just is meant to be like an Invincible versus, just so they're facing off against each other. I haven't seen anything that has any cross reference for it. All I saw was just them fighting each other. So I'm assuming just staying within that universe. Obviously, we've had some other stuff, Mortal Kombat, where we've seen Omni-Man versus Homelander in the Mortal Kombat. So maybe they leave it open for future DLC characters coming in like that. Never know.
I hope so. Nick, what's your pick?
All right. If Chris is allowed to go to the well for League of Legends all the time, I'm going Halo CE Remastered, okay? It's rumored is all get out, but it's setting up perfectly to be amazing. Halo 25-year anniversary coming out next year, timed up perfectly with a Halo Combat Evolved remaster. It's going to be beautiful. Unreal Engine. You can't really even say much more, but an amazing remaster to what started it all.
I want so bad for this to be when they do the BR. Halo Combat Evolved, this is when you do the BR, the OG Banshees, the OG Ghost, the Wraiths, like that's when we're going to, Scorpions, right? You get rid of a lot of the noise of a lot of these new Halos and you go back to its purest form. And like, I think Splitgate is showing, if I'm 343, right, and I'm making this Halo, I'm looking at Splitgate and I'm like, hey, you're a fan of Halo, you clearly modeled your gameplay after us. The BR, a lot of people got hyped for that. Maybe there's some juice to squeeze here.
That's what a lot of people.
Epic, man.
That's what a lot of people were talking about with the Splitgate Battle Royale. It's like they're doing what Halo should have done for the past 5 years.
Remind me, Blood Gulch is in Combat Evolved, correct?
Yeah.
Just massively blow it up for me and put that as one of the BR, and I would actually play it.
Yeah, I would play it nonstop. I'd be hanging out with Eli every day. Like we're running it, and we're going. I'm helping Nick. I'm coming up with strats for the MVP squad. Yeah, we're invested. Nick just picked Davis. You get your next ban. What are we not talking about?
Yep, get it off the board.
I'm banning Overwatch 2.
Good man. That's good. That's a good ban. Nobody wants to talk about Overwatch. Nick, you're back again.
You know what? Since this is a topic near and dear to all of our hearts, Kenny's family opening a food truck. If it was in Charlotte, we would have eaten there today because we were scrambling right before this show to figure out, oh my God, what are we going to do for food? But hey, Kenny's family's got us covered if we were in Texas. But what a cool thing to see, supporting the fam, opening a food truck, an additional line of business for them. Looks like great things on the horizon for the Kenny family.
We were just in Texas, wrong part of Texas, but if we ever go down there, like I'm going to the food truck.
It looked pretty good. The menu looked really good.
Yeah,
it
did
Oboe,
look
Oxtail.
Yeah,
it was hitting all the right cylinders.
All right, Chris, we're down to some banger topics.
We are.
So I'm gonna need you to lock one in here.
So I was actually looking
tough.
at the PUBG Nations Cup.
Okay.
Actually looked really cool. So of course, one of the few things I actually liked about the Overwatch competitive scene was their actual World Cup, where we actually got to see teams come together. It's just something I kind of really wish we would see from, League of Legends. Might be a little bit harder though, but we saw a massive amount of lists on there for them, and I think PUBG has, the player base to cover that you'd be able to get actually good teams from just everywhere, right? I think it's a cool implementation for them. I think it'd be really good for the scene. You don't hear too much about PUBG nowadays. They did have the competitive scene a couple of years ago that was, fairly decent to watch. But I think in terms of BR, since we're talking about a lot of BRs today, having a nations where you have, the best, or hopefully the best players from every nation play, I think would just be a really cool concept for them.
Well spoken. Davis, you're the last pick.
He hates them both. I can already tell.
Yeah, because I know he does, because Resident Evil 9's pure single player.
I was going to say, I don't even know anything to talk about. So I'm going with CS2, getting double the viewership of Valorant. I think it's just really, it's because of Simple. It's because Simple's playing. The aura that he brings, the following that he brings, anytime he's at the event, it's going to be insane. That's the only reason I think it's doubled Valorant. But I do think, like you said earlier, CS2 is the thing that really sets the bar. Especially in this first-person shooter stage, Valorant will always be its little brother. CS2. Doubling the Valorant Masters viewership as just stage 2. Pretty good.
Yeah, we're not even in the playoffs. We're not even in the big.
Not even stage 3.
Yeah.
You can make the argument Valorant's in stage 1 as well, right?
Yeah, that's fair, because they're in that switch.
Yeah, but it's all their top teams. Like everybody knows the teams that are in Masters. You look at the teams that are in stage 2. Like if you would have asked us 2 weeks ago, we wouldn't have known half the teams.
That's true.
That is fair. That's a good point. This is the part where I get to pick a winner. I never get to be in this seat. And honestly, this is so easy for me. So first off, he banned Black Ops. So he's out. Because if you learn your host, buddy, never deny me a chance to crap on Call of Duty.
It was that or Combat Evolved, and I wanted to give Nick a chance.
Thank you, Chris.
I switched up at the end there.
You're the winner in Nick's art.
Davis had a chance to secure victory. But Davis ran from adversary worlds with Resident Evil 9.
Ooh.
If he would have picked Resident Evil 9, I would have given it to him. So even though he kicked me earlier, even though he is the bane of my existence on this show, Nick, I mean, picking great
Hey,
topics there.
winner,
Nick
winner.
with the win. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So, Nick, with that said, your prize for winning, you're going to do the closing for the show.
Okay.
Talk to the cam. Send us home because we're done. That's the show.
Is that the show?
That's the show.
Wow, that was amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this episode of Queued Up. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, see ya.
I had him do it because I don't know how to do outros.
That's fine. Bang, bang. I was like, is that everything?
Ah!